Welcome back to Only Dale's NASCAR content created by Dale for Dales.
Jeff Gordon made a comment, and he explained that he would like NASCAR teams to have fan bases that rallied around them regardless of who's driving their car. Let's quote Jeff here. In all other sports, the teams are kind of what the fans are all drawn to. I'm a 49ers fan, no matter who the players are.
I love Jeff Gordon. He's one of my idols, but I just will never understand this thought process for 3 reasons, really. First things first, right here. This is all I need to see. You can play the clip. We have got to get rid of this ideology that NASCAR's got to be like other sports. It is going to be toxic for the future of the sport to say that NASCAR needs to be like the NFL, needs to be like the NBA, the MLB. Any ideology we have in saying NASCAR's got to be like them is going to be toxic for the future of the sport. It just does not work. Prime example, just look at the playoffs and tell me if they've done anything for TV ratings over the past 9 years, and then get back to me. But that's a deeper conversation for a different time. Point is, NASCAR's got to be unique, and any ideology that stresses that we need to be like the NFL or MLB is bogus. NASCAR needs to be itself. It has a better chance of thriving when it is its own unique entity. Point number 2 is personality. More fans join in the sport because they pick a driver that they like. If you grew up watching in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, you probably clinged on to Dale Earnhardt, not just because of Richard Childress Racing or Rod Osterlund, whoever else he drove for, but because Dale Earnhardt had a personality on and off the track. Jeff Gordon had a personality on and off the track. At the end of the day, there are going to be those people that do cling to Hendrick Motorsports, to Joe Gibbs Racing, to Team Penske. I think those people do exist, but that's not going to make up the majority of NASCAR fans. Not now, not ever. The teams do not have personalities. The drivers do. The people that make up the teams do. And as long as you're not just an actual bot, some NPC motherfucker, and you have a pulse, you're just not going to buy this idea. And it will never be a driving point to create new fans and growth to the sport because the teams don't have personalities. You're going to cling on to drivers because of who they are off and on the racetrack rather than just a team name. Third point, I think expecting fans or assuming that fans will like every single driver on one team or within one organization is absurd. I did not really care about the Hendrick Motorsports name. I love Jeff Gordon. Hated Jimmy Johnson, didn't like Brian Vickers, didn't like Casey Mears. I didn't give a shit about a lot of the other Hendrick drivers other than my guy. And I know there's plenty of other people that felt the same way. I think you could say the same thing now. I think there's a lot of Chase Elliott fans that don't like Kyle Larson and probably never will just because of a few riffs they've had over the last couple years. Both these guys are winners, they're great champions, but it will never mean that their fans are going to align. Now, this might be possible with 2-car teams like RFK with Brad Kay and Chris Buescher, but NASCAR boasts a lot of 3-4-car teams in all their series, and it's just not realistic to assume that new fans are going to cling on to a team and like every single driver underneath a banner. It's a crazy idea, and not crazy as in like innovative, like crazy as in extremely irrational. And like I said, I love Jeff Gordon, but you're not going to expect fans to just be like, oh, I'm a Hendrick Motorsports guy, and love all 4 drivers under their banner. If Kyle Larson packed his bags and went from Hendrick Motorsports to Joe Gibbs Racing tomorrow, I'm sure 90% of Kyle Larson's fans would still ride with Kyle Larson over to Joe Gibbs Racing, over to Toyota, and then that doesn't mean shit for Hendrick Motorsports. It's just unrealistic to sit here and say, or even assume, that fans are going to stick with an organization when your drivers are a revolving door half the time. It's just not realistic if you know the fans. I think Kyle Busch is already a great example. He left Joe Gibbs Racing, went to RCR. People don't give a shit about Joe Gibbs Racing anymore that like Kyle Busch. They hop ship with Kyle Busch, regardless of what manufacturer he's driving. At the end of the day, it's about the driver. This isn't the right way to market our sport through teams. It's unrealistic. We got to market the drivers and drivers first. Let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to Garage Guys on YouTube.